Welcome to the Karen Mitches podcast. Today we have Amanda Custodio.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Can I ask you about your t-shirt?
Yes, I spent a lot of money on it.
It looks rare.
Yeah, I got it from a vintage store just outside of the Comedy Lab. Yeah, it's called, it starts with an R. I think it's like Revival or something. It's this vintage shop, and they always have a rack outside with like $18 pieces. So you'll see like different, like usually shirts, but sometimes you find jeans and stuff. Anyways, I saw it in the little window, and I was like, I have to get it. It was $65.
Worth it.
It's a perfect color too. So I was like, I can't not get it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love Betty Boop. I feel like she was big in the 90s when I was a teenager, and then I don't know why I like seeing her show up again.
Yeah, she's been showing up. I have at least 4 different Betty Boop shirts. I always grew up seeing like my aunts and my cousins have Betty Boop things.
I love it.
But I just never knew. I don't know much about her.
Because she's like originally from, what, I don't even know, the 40s?
I believe so, the 40s or 50s. And yeah, I just know her as a figure. I don't actually know if she was on a TV show or what, or if it was supposed to just be paintings or...
Yeah, I always assumed there was like a TV show back in the day. But it's weird because she's kind of a sexed up character, like...
Yes, like she's like the cartoon Marilyn Monroe, basically, where it's like, yeah, she just kind of shows up and you're just kind of like, who is this person? She's hot.
Who is this sexy black and white girl?
Yeah. Funny you say black and white. She was actually, I believe she was supposed to be black, and then they made her white to appeal to the media. That's what I've read on. That's as much as I know about her. Yeah, and then I also like this shirt because it also has a motorcycle on it, and I like motorcycles. I've never been on one. Half my family rides motorcycles, but yeah, I've never been on one. I'm yet to go on one.
Do you want to?
I'm thinking about it. I'm a little scared. There's, the accidents are scary. My dad keeps pushing me to go on the motorcycle with him. My brother also has a motorcycle. Yeah. He's not as pushy, but...
I went on a motorcycle once, and I like that I can say that I did it, but I had zero fun the whole time.
I feel like if I learned how to ride one, it would be more fun and less anxiety provoking than riding on it with somebody, because I feel like the whole time I'd be anxious about holding on to them and falling off backwards. I feel like that would be the biggest, because at least you can hold on to the handles at the front as the rider, but being the second person, I don't know. I think it looks cool though. That's the thing.
I love
I think it looks so cool.
I love imagery too of like classic motorcycles. Like, there's just something about it that's
like
so
the long
iconic.
Thing in the front and...
or like they'll have like Soviet era motorcycles, and it makes me think of like spies and shit like that.
Spies. Do you remember back in the day when there used to be like spy kits everywhere? You would go to Walmart and you'd see a spy kit, or you would go to the dollar store and find that. Now you can't find that anymore. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, I feel like spying was a bigger part of like the popular culture in people's imagination.
I mean, it kind of still is. Like, we have social media. Like, you can go on anything and spy
I guess
people.
Spying used to seem more cool, and now it just seems more perverted.
Or I think it's just more applicable to everybody. I feel like we're just all spies now, and now they don't sell the little kits because you just have...
People were misusing it.
Your cell phone is... the spy kit now.
So they don't have to say spy kit. Everything they're selling is for spying.
Yeah, honestly, the iPhone is a spy kit on its own. And the bots that hack all the iPhones. Have you, like...
Are iPhones getting hacked?
I mean, I feel like the bots are watching.
Oh, just like the general, like...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like we're all getting watched. That's why whenever, like, I get changed or something, I, like, throw something on top of my phone or my iPad because I'm scared that there's, someone's, like...
One thing I just did was, like, I just made peace with the fact, like, I might be naked on the internet. Like...
Yeah, you kind of do have to make a little peace with that.
You have to just say, like, there's so many other naked people out there. Like, why would I specifically get focused on?
That's so funny. Yeah, one time I mean, many times I've had my phone stolen. And I used to be anxious about, you know, like nudes that I've sent to people or whatever. It's like, oh my God, like, what if it gets online? But realistically, if it does get online, you can get money from that eventually. So is it really that bad? I don't think so.
And then you're like victimless in it. So you're like, that was my compensation.
Yeah, and then that's how OnlyFans was created. I don't know.
Well, that's the other thing too, is you hear about like how, okay, there's like a few people who are like making bank on OnlyFans, but like the majority of people signed up aren't making any money. Like I feel like nudity isn't the commodity that it used to be.
Well, I think just like, you know, even in stand-up and even online actors and stuff like that, I think it's all about the stance that person or the persona that person already has established as an influencer or as a media presenter before any of it. So it's just like going to, like, for example, before we began this episode, we were talking about like comedy shows and how it's very, very difficult to get people in the door or butts in chairs. And a lot of the time it's hard to get that online by like posting it online, unless you do have that established following and people are waiting to kind of like go to your show or, you know, subscribe to your OnlyFans type of thing. Like, look at that Cash Me Outside girl, Bad Baby.
Yeah.
That was really sad what happened, because I think it was when she was turned 18, she made the OnlyFans, and then all these people subscribed to her. So it was, I think a lot of people were concerned because of all the older men that did that.
And that's 18 is legal, but it's young.
Yeah, exactly. But to use her as an example, it's like you have somebody who already has established them, like their media persona or who they are, and that's why people are pulling to that or getting pushed to that. They're like, oh, I know this person, so I'm gonna subscribe to this. Yeah, that's why I find it's very hard for a lot of people to make it on OnlyFans or whatever it might be, because
you can't really stand out or like develop any kind of name for yourself.
Yeah, you kind of have to do it outside of these platforms first, which is kind of weird, because then the platforms are what make you blow up. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's like a circle.
Yeah. And then it's also sad, I think, if you were trying to make it in something else and people know you, but the only way you can monetize it is on OnlyFans. Like, here's a photo of my feet.
You know what? Some people be selling the feet pics and they're successful. Okay.
I shouldn't judge, because I think I have like deeply unsexy feet, but some people have very sexy feet.
I wouldn't say sexy feet, but I would say that I've seen some people's feet and I'm like, I wish my feet or my toes looked like that instead of these like stumpy little balls. Like, they all look like just like little like circles that were just attached to my feet. Like, and then when my toenails grow out, it's like weird. They can't grow out too long or else they start hurting my toes because they hit the shoe. I did know this one guy that he had a foot fetish. I mean, I'm sure I know many people with them, and it just hasn't been said. But I worked with this one guy, and he had a foot fetish, and he told another coworker of ours that he had this foot fetish. And then this coworker told everybody about it. Oh, and he like
the shaming.
Yeah, and he like reported everything. Like, one time, one of our other coworkers came in with like sandals on, and her nails were painted and shit. And apparently, he went on about how beautiful her toes look. He's like, "Yo, one time, the manager came in, and her toes were painted blue. Wow." And he sounded like that, by the way. And this was like the whole thing. So after that, when she found out that he said this about her, she just never went in with sandals ever again. It could be scorching hot weather outside. She was not walking in the store, because it was Shoppers. she was not walking in the store.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then the same guy that told everybody about this guy's foot fetish in the future, because I'm still friends with this guy, ended up revealing to me that he like licked some girl's toes, and I'm like, bro, he outed
the other guy.
Exactly.
But he was foot pervy too.
Yes. It's always the ones that out other people that are actually worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also thought about this in terms of like the most like publicly anti-trans people being like Elon Musk and like J.K. Rowling.
Yep.
And it's that kind of the calls
like,
coming from inside the house.
It's like, there's something going on there. You're either fucking a trans person or you probably are trans. It's just like, you know, like men who are in the closet, they'll out other men who, you know, are kind of out of the closet and kind of not in whatever. They'll be like the worst about it, but then they end up being gay. And it's like, okay, what was there to be embarrassed about? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. But yeah, it is weird how feet are sexualized, though. We just put our mugs down all at the same time. Anyways, sorry, I have ADHD.
I feel like it's one of those things that's like, it's the grossest thing that isn't that bad.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, there's worse things you could be turned on by, but then it wouldn't be funny to talk about.
Yeah. I think what it is about feet specifically is that it touches the ground. I think that's what it is. And, like, it's the bottom of your body. So people are just like, you know, that's like the bottomless pit. That's like the last thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the trash of it. Yeah. Which is funny because it actually isn't the trash of your body. But I think something in your your foot feeler or something like that in your brain, like some type of sense with your foot is like next to the sexualization or like sexual function in your brain, something like that. That's what I heard one time. That's
interesting.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not super privy to that. I don't know much. I'm not a psychologist,
I
but
could see if there's like something kind of more physiological with it than just like.
Yeah, and then some people kind of get up, like they're kind of like into it because the two things get confusing, which is kind of funny. But it's like, ooh, I don't know. Genitals or feet.
Amanda, how long have you been doing comedy?
That's a interesting question. I don't know how to answer that because I started before the pandemic.
Okay.
And then I didn't do comedy for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So I started in, I'm going to say like 2019, end of 2018, but I stopped for 2 years. So I would say about 4 years.
So then when you were starting up, was it still in that like phase where there was a lot of outdoor stuff?
Was there a lot of...
Or was the pandemic fully done when you got back in?
When I started doing comedy again in like 2021, it was half in, half out. So a lot of it was like these like comedy shows in the parks, or the like Danton used to run a show in the park. I think it was Cedar Grove Park that he used to run it in, because there was a lot of space that people couldn't sit down with their picnic blankets and just like, it was kind of like Bellwoods, like the pit at Bellwoods, but it was bigger than that. But then I was also doing shows that were inside, but they were capacitated. Like you had to, so it was only 50 capacity. Yeah. Like when I started doing the Horror Store Comedy Bar, at first it was only like 30 people.
Okay. Was this like the most challenging thing?
No, because people wanted to get outside. So people were showing up to all those shows, like regardless if it was my show or somebody else, but people were wanting to be social, wanting to do stuff, wanting to see people in person. So I found that at least for audiences, it was kind of easier to get people to come. And now I feel like we've had a recession kind of hit, and I think it's more difficult now.
Yeah, people are trying to save their dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So the Horror Store is a show you produce at Comedy Bar.
I've produced it everywhere. I've produced it at SoCap. I've even done it at like Tall Boys. Those are the three main venues that I've done it at, just because I'm most familiar with those venues. So, but yeah, it started off at Comedy Bar though.
And what's the vibe of it?
It was like the vibe of it is like a sex positive, like Breakfast Club type of show. So I like to have like a variety of acts on the show of, different walks of life, whether, you're just like a really like sexualized person or like really, really gay person or like super, super closed to yourself. Don't touch me, asexual type. So yeah, that's the vibe. And during the show, the host, usually me, kind of turns to the audience and we do chants between the acts. So I ask if you're a whore, and then the audience will go, I'm a whore. If you're a whore, I'm a whore. And so we do that 3 times, and I took that from The Notebook. The line, if you're a bird, I'm a bird.
I don't remember that.
I don't know why I chose to do that, but I think it's because I thought Ryan Gosling's hot. I mean, I still think he's hot, but
he's deep in a lot of people's psyche.
Yeah, he could ruin anybody's life, and it would be okay. I feel like, yeah. I mean, he could do that any day of the week for me. So if you're watching this, Ryan, anyways, yeah.
What made you want to include sex positivity in your show?
The biggest thing for me was, so part of the reason why I didn't do comedy during the pandemic is because when I did do it on Zoom, and I was running my shows, I did my 25th birthday roast on a Zoom show, and then I also did, I used to produce, like I produced 2 of this show, but I did the Amanda show at one point. So I did one right before the pandemic started at S2Ep, and then I did one online. Now, at my birthday roast and at the Amanda show that was on Zoom, I had somebody come onto the Zoom call and basically say a bunch of nasty shit to me. They started saying Amanda's a hoe, Amanda's a hoe, Amanda's a hoe. Started dropping like the N-word, all this crap. And they
was
also
it like
lowered...
a Zoom bombing?
Yes.
Fuck.
And actually, on my birthday roast one, this person was like putting like porn on their screen. Like, it was insane. I didn't notice it at first because they weren't spotlighting themselves.
So there's like a lot of different boxes.
Yeah, and so I didn't notice it until they started spotlighting themselves, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know what to do. So by the way, I still have a clip of this whole thing, not the porn, but the Amanda's a hoe part. So I stopped producing any comedy shows and stuff like that because that was happening and I didn't know who it was and how to stop it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to take a breather and step back and step away from this. I had been going through my own stuff anyway, so I was also on a healing journey with that. And yeah, I think I may have done 1 or 2 Zoom shows after that, but it wasn't my show, and I was very I was very quiet about being on them. But yeah, so to answer your question, the Amanda's a Hoe was what inspired me to do the horror store, as well as the fact that there was a comic that was going around saying that he slept with me and he didn't.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. So I had a pretty rough first year and a half of comedy.
That's a lot
in terms
of stuff.
Of that. Yeah.
Fuck.
And then I got kind of tired of that because the thing is I know so many women who have experienced that, you know, people making up that they had sex with them or, you know, all of this shit. So, and it's not true, or even just revealing things that have happened between
2 people.
Yeah. And
or
like
3
going
people.
and advertising it to other people. And it's like, it's a lot. Like, unless you were assaulted by somebody, maybe you should just keep it down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one needs to know all of this. And so, yeah, I think it's really important to like not slut shame people and not like make people feel like shit because, you know, they have a lot of sex or they have little to no sex, for example. And you see a lot of that on both ends. Yeah. Yeah.
I forget about the more conservative people because I think like it's maybe been in the ether in the last 10 years to talk about like sex positivity and not slut shaming people, but I do forget that there's also like our frigid friends who or asexual people.
Yes. And that's, and I made space for that too, because, you know, for a long time I had the opposite happen to me of, you know, people saying that I'm not sexual enough or I'm not this enough and all that stuff. So, you know, and I've also seen it, you know, amongst my friends and my peers and stuff like that, like, oh, you know, making them feel like shit for not, you know, diverting themselves or kind of like implementing themselves in this like hookup culture that we have going on. I don't know if it's really going on anymore. I know it was kind of like a bigger thing before, or like you saw it on media before.
Yeah.
But you know,
I feel like there was a point when it was like the media portrayal of a young person was that you partied and that you slept around. And so people almost had to like apologize if they didn't do one of those things.
Yeah, I feel like that was like a big millennial era of time. Like when, I guess like when I was in my early to mid 20s, that was like a huge thing. And I remember feeling like kind of shit about that because I'm, at the end of the day, like I'm a pretty big homebody. I like being at home. I like having tea, eating some snacks, chilling with my dogs or my cat. So yeah, I did it. I did the show for both ends of the spectrum.
I love that.
Yeah.
What are your dogs and cats' name?
My cat's name's Sylvie because she kind of looks like Sylvester. She has like, she's tuxedo and she has like the long hair. And then I have a Belgian Malinois named B.
Okay.
They're kind of like the police dogs that are not German Shepherds. So they kind of look like German Shepherds. They're slightly smaller, less shaggier than them. And then I have a small, she's a mutt, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes.
After, obviously.
Wednesday.
That's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, she's like she basically looks like a miniature German Shepherd. She's part German Shepherd, but she is like a lot of different other breeds.
Yeah.
And she is totally wild. She's a puppy, so she's only like 9 months.
So even Sylvester, does he look a little bit like the dogs? Or Sylvie, does she look like the dogs?
She doesn't like look like them or act like them.
No. Okay. But
she looks like a cat.
Okay.
She does act like the dogs. She like wags her tail like a dog when she's ready to play.
I love it.
It's a thing. Yeah, and she's super small. Like the vet told me that she was a dwarf cat, which, and they don't have like a long lifespan, and but she's almost 8, so she obviously is not dwarf. Or if she is, she's part.
Okay, she's just a little bit small.
Yeah, she's kind of just short, and she has like really long fur like a Maine Coon. And her body's kind of long like a Maine Coon, but she's kind of ragdoll like, but not quite. So there's a lot. Yeah, she's very silly.
I love it.
Yeah.
So before comedy, did you do anything performance oriented, or were you just always funny?
Yeah, I did theater for a long time. I was like a big theater person in high school and middle school. I went to theater school. I was annoying as fuck. I'm still annoying, but I'm a little bit more low key about my annoyingness now. Yeah, I was that kid that was on student council being like, join this thing that's happening today after school. And like, I was the host of like I wasn't the president or anything like that, in my high school, but like I was like a social like convener person. That's what we called it. So yeah, I did a lot of theater. I went to York for theater, and I specialized in the devised theater and the playwriting sector.
What's the devised theater?
So devised theater, I mean, I didn't do it all the way through because I wanted to focus more on playwriting, but devised theater basically is, it's similar to improv in that it's collective creation. So you basically, like an improviser, you create a show from the ground up by yourself rather than following a play of some sorts.
Okay.
But it doesn't need to be funny.
Okay.
That's where it's not like improv anymore. So basically, instead of having a designated actor, director, this and that, you would get into groups and create sequences. Now, in my third year, I ended up dropping out of that program and I focused on my playwriting. And then I minored in English. Maybe
this is a bad question to ask, but like, did you like the theater program at York?
I did and I didn't. I think it's a good program because the way it's structured, or at least it was, because the way that it worked was you would audition or give a portfolio to get into the program. and only 140 students would get in every year or something, or maybe 100, I don't know. And then at the end of your first year, you had the option to audition or apply for different streams. So you had device theater, you had production or like stagecraft, you had the acting conservatory, and then you had playwriting. Now the playwriting program was only 2 years technically, whereas the other programs were all 3 years. And you could do playwriting and device theater, like both of them at the same time if you wanted to, but you couldn't double up on production or the acting conservatory because they were BFA programs. They were a little bit more intense. So I liked the structure of it. There were a lot of things that were problematic about the program.
So your focus was on writing?
Yeah, and later on I became writing. I was more of like a performer back in the day and stuff like that. And I still like acting now. Like I have an agent and stuff like that. I'm taking acting classes and that's a different thing now. But that's how it started. And then the playwriting thing. I always liked writing, but it was never the main focus.
Okay.
And so then when I got into playwriting, that's kind of where my dilemma came to go into stand-up. So, yeah.
The writing led into stand-up.
Kind of, because stand-up, I mean, for years people told me that I should do stand-up comedy, like all my friends.
You have
people
like a stand-up comedy vibe.
Yeah, I think it's the misery. I'm pretty miserable. Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they're funny, but you're like they could just be a funny person or like an improv like, you know. But yeah, you have a very, I think it's the bluntness.
Yeah, it's the bluntness, probably the dead, like it's the low voice. Yeah.
Which we were talking about,
yes.
That you accidentally lowered your voice.
Yeah, I mean, my voice was never like super high pitched, but I could reach the high pitch like tones. Like not so much. I'm not a trained singer, so I wouldn't say when I was singing, but when I would talk and stuff like that, I would get pretty screechy, especially when I was like scared and all that. But then, like I think 2018, 2017, something like that, I ended up getting laryngitis. And so I actually could not talk physically. But I did push myself to talk. So I ended up damaging my vocal cords. So I cannot talk. Like I can't go high. After a certain pitch, I can't reach it anymore. Like I can't screech and yell. I am a loud person, so I still have that because I talk from my diaphragm. But because of that whole incident, it did really mess up my vocal cords.
Do you think talking from the diaphragm is something you always did, or do you think it came out of the theater background?
I think I come from a loud family too, so it's a little bit of everything. Like everyone in my family, even like my older brother's super, super quiet as a person, but he has a loud voice. I think everyone kind of talks from their diaphragm in my family, to be honest.
It's something like, because I didn't have that. I don't have a background in like singing or theater. So when I started doing comedy, that's when I really became aware of my voice. And I never liked it, but then I did start to sort of like dissect what I don't like about it. And I feel like I talk in my face and up high, and it's hard for me to, like, I can do it if I start to think about it, but it's hard for me to be in the diaphragm.
Yeah, I feel like it really requires you to talk from your core. And use your core when you're talking. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've just always been kind of used to doing it.
Yeah.
Especially because of the theater thing. And then also being from a loud family anyways, like everyone's has like pretty strong, loud voices. I also did Taekwondo a lot growing up, so that kind of requires somewhat core strength. So I think when I did all these things as a kid, it kind of built that a little bit. Obviously, the theater was the main thing, but yeah.
Do you still do any martial arts?
No. The last time I did any kickboxing, I ended up breaking my leg. So,
shit.
Yeah. And I was in a cast for 3 months.
That's like my nightmare.
I've broken both my feet, or my legs. I don't know. Ankle is technically considered your leg, but people think it's your foot because it's what joins your leg and your foot together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've broken both my fibulas and one of my tibia bones.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's pretty rough. Yeah. Twice it was due to martial arts, and then the other time it was soccer. But yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm not doing the kind of sports that would break a bone.
Yeah, I'm not doing those stuff anymore. You know, I know that, you know, my bone density is not great. Never has been, even as a kid. So, yeah. But it's been 7 years since I've broken anything, so I'm pretty happy about that.
You're on a streak.
I'm on a streak right now. Yeah. It's the last time I broke my bone, I think it had been 8 years since I had broken a previous bone. So we're hoping that we succeed that this time and never break it again. So knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Yeah. Were you in Toronto before you went to York?
Yeah, I was born and raised here.
What neighborhood?
Bellwoods.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's such a cool neighborhood to be from.
Yeah, I knew Bellwoods when you couldn't walk there at night because there were crazy people, and I remember the days where Portugal Day, like the festival for Portugal, was in Trinity Bellwoods and not in Downsview Park.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, because like Sean Desmond
that
and everything used to
neighborhood
perform
was
in that little thing in the pit.
The two main things were like the Portuguese community and CAMH, mental hospital. And
CAMH is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. CAMH is still there. But yeah, they used to, like, I don't know if you've ever been to the bowl at Trinity Bellwoods or the pit.
Yeah, I used to live near there.
Yeah, and that little stage thing, that is where they used to have the people perform at, like, on stage. Like, you had Sean Desmond, you had all the Portuguese singers perform, Danny Fernandez when he was, like, a thing, I guess. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we used to sit, like, you know, I mean, kind of like how they do now, but, you know, we would set up a blanket, have a picnic, and watch the performers. But it was more
like families than...
Yeah. That's why there's like a lot of like houses in that area, because it used to be all families. I think a lot of the people who moved away from Toronto and stuff like that, like they all pretty much like rent are the landlords down there now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
crazy. It's crazy how fast things change, and then we just become accustomed to what the new thing is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're not that old, you know.
Yeah, I'm 30. So like I'm at I guess a weird spot where it's like, but it has changed even in the last 10 years. Like everywhere in Toronto has changed a lot. It's like a little weird to go anywhere now without it being like, hey, wait, when did this get here type of thing.
Yeah.
I think the only areas that are kind of still the same are like Kensington and Chinatown, maybe. Those are the two big things.
Although, like, Kensington, I think less people... Like, there's more ghost hotels and, like even... It looks the same, but I think there's newer things happening within it.
Yeah, I've noticed that, too. Yeah.
Like, I think it used to be you'd have, like, just, like, a sketchy artist renting a place in Kensington on the cheap, and now...
No, you have to go through X, Y, and Z, credit check... employment. Anyways, yeah, it's like scary. Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, so when you first did stand up, did you just like go to a mic or?
I started taking stand up classes at Second City, and I'll tell you who my teachers were.
Was it Joel Buxton?
He was my level 3 teacher. My second teacher was Jim McAleese, best teacher ever. He's incredible. I
don't know him. I had Joel.
Yeah, well, he's like Jim is like a retired comedian now, but yeah, he's amazing. Like such a good writer. And Todd Van Allen was my first one.
His name sounds familiar.
He is mainly like in Ottawa situated now, but he does a lot with Absolute.
So, okay, so I've seen his name on posters.
Yeah. He did the Write 'Em Up. I think he's the one who produces the Write 'Em Up show. I believe it's him, but yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, so that's how... So yeah, I started taking classes there because I wanted to kind of get the hang of it. And did you just do level 1?
I did 1 and 2, and then just this year I don't think they have 3 anymore, but they have something called Stand Up Lab. which is basically like they're just giving you writing prompts. And there were some exercises around kind of like finding your voice in comedy.
Okay, I like that. I also just like that even just to do a drop in like with friends. Like, you know, you can totally do that with like other comics and stuff like that. But yeah, so I did that, and then I just started doing like shows here and there and mics. I did Comedy Kapow because Todd Van Allen was like, yo, message this person and get a spot on this show. So I did that. That was my first show ever. But yeah. Amazing. So I did a little bit of everything. I kind of asked for spots, and then I did a bunch of mics. Yeah.
How do you feel like the community's changed since you've started?
Well, it's changed a lot, because before you could go on the Toronto stand-up community group, go to a doc and find out where all the mics are, or who all the producers were. I find that now it's a little bit difficult to find who's doing what and stuff like that. It's just it's a lot of it is like invite only, or it's like you kind of just find out on Instagram. It's like you see a post and it's like, okay, I guess there's a mic here. Let's just go. So I find that it's changed a little bit in the way that things are communicated. That's like, I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's a good and it's a bad thing. I think that it's good because it keeps creepos out. But it's a bad thing because it's harder to kind of create a community if, you know, only a certain amount of people know about this show or this producer or that and all that. So
yeah, I do think a lot of people want to do a pre-booked mic because they don't. The creeps really do ruin it.
They do ruin it. Yesterday, I mean, I did a mic and we had a pre-booked mic, but you knew you were getting on type of thing. So I like a mic that you just fill out a Google form and you show up, or you get an email saying, hey, you're on the mic.
Yeah.
Because at least, you know, you don't just show up to the mic to sign up and then it's too late.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I used to run a mic with Anna Sebastian called On Wednesdays We Wear Pink, and that's how we ran it. So,
which is a Mean Girls reference?
Yes, it is.
That's my favorite. Well, one of my favorite movies.
Oh my God, me too.
So good.
I love Tina Fey. I just watched her this year with Amy Poehler because they did the Restless Leg tour.
Amazing. So what do they do on their tour?
They did stand-up. They did improv/sketch. Yeah.
That's so
And
good.
they did it last time, too, because I've watched them twice. I'm obsessed.
And you have an autographed copy of Bossy Pants, which is one of my...
I do. I bought it the last time I saw her. This time I didn't buy anything because I got all my souvenirs last time. The first time I watched her was 2 years ago in Atlantic City. And then this time I watched it at... I don't remember what it's called. But it's the not Detroit Red Wings, the New Jersey Devils, like, home base for hockey.
Oh.
And it's such a scary stadium because literally we were on the balcony seats. They're so steep. There's no, like, bars in between the chairs.
Oh, fuck.
So if you fall, you're done. But it was super steep.
That shit freaks me out.
Yeah. But yeah, they did stand up. And then they did a lot of their throwbacks of what they've done on SNL and stuff like that. Or they also they start off the show basically introducing themselves in gowns, like when they hosted the Oscars and shit like that. It's really cool. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like Tina Fey is such a big influence for me. But I don't even know, like, it feels like the first time I saw her, I already felt like she reminded me of some of my cousins. Mm-hmm. I was like, I know this person. Yeah. And then I've just, like, and so every time she started doing something new, I was just like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, I don't know, I find her to be very down to earth and very relatable. You know, she's not, like, necessarily a stand-up comedian. I mean, I've seen her do stand-up, and it was pretty good and stuff like that, but she's one of those comics that, like, I feel like she could really just do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you have some people who can do that, and then some people who just, like, can't or are just not good at it because, you know, you have the the line between the improvisers and the stand-ups, and they hate each other because
Yeah.
the improvisers are happy. And then the stand-ups, you know, as you know.
I just started doing acting classes, and I feel like I have some struggles within acting that I think are connected to why I'm good at stand-up.
Okay.
Like, there's some, like, inability to, like, emote big emotions, like, to display emotions to people, which I think is why, like, I have good delivery in stand-up, because I'm, like, holding things under, so it's, like, it's more surprising.
You're calculated.
Yeah, and I think even maybe, like, some of, like, the way you become good at, like, delivering a punchline is somehow connected to, like, to keeping one's feelings under the skin.
Yeah. It's weird because I find that stand-up and acting have a separation like that, but I also find that at the same time they're very connected because they both require you to be very vulnerable and calculated. So even though you're not calculated in the same way when you're acting, because you might have to emote, like, you know, tragedy or whatever, you're still remaining in that state of vulnerability because, you know, in stand-up you're not crying on stage, but you still want the audience to laugh at your jokes.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out whether you're good on the spot, right? With acting, you can watch the video after and find out if you were good. Whereas in stand-up, it's even more demanding because if they don't laugh, like,
Yeah.
you know, that could make you more vulnerable, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, what acting class are you taking?
EVN.
Where's that?
It's this guy, Earl Nanhu, and he has a place near Dundas West Station.
Oh, so he's an acting coach.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I right now I'm taking some classes with Karen Ivany. She used to teach at Second City.
Nice.
So I was taking her classes at Second City while I was taking the stand-up classes at the time, because when I started doing all that stuff at Second City, I had just gotten out of university and was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I was like a really good student and stuff, and I wanted to do my master's. I wanted to do my PhD and all this stuff. And then I like failed a class. It ruined my GPA. And then I was way too lazy to fix any of it. So I was like,
shit.
I mean, I graduated. I still had honors and everything. But yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. I had my playwriting instructor make me cry in front of the whole class because I did a too comedic of a piece.
Oh, fuck.
And she said that this is not sketch comedy. So, yeah.
And that was before you'd ever done sketch comedy.
That's right. That's right. Any stand-up, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I would have thought, like, people... I guess I was going to say I would have thought people in the theater world would be friendly, but actually there's quite a stereotype, isn't there, of, like...
Yeah, they're fake friendly.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
And I feel like some aggressive critiquing...
That, and I feel like in theater, people just want you to be vulnerable all the time. Especially if you have, like, a funny nature to you, they want you to be the opposite of that. But at York, I'll be honest, like, all my peers, whether they were in playwriting, acting, whatever, for some reason, all these fucking teachers wanted us to cry. And, like, for example, when my prof had made me cry, now... The only reason, her only thing, and the only reason why she reamed me out in front of the class was because the last assignment, I had done a very vulnerable piece, and it was very emotional, and it was very touching to a lot of people, to the point where she ended up actually asking permission from me to put it in her Me Too book. But, it was one of those things where it was like she kept wanting me to be vulnerable. And it's like in that capacity. And it's like, that's not always what vulnerability is. You know what I mean? It can be other things. It doesn't just have to be me crying or me being in a state of victim. You know what I mean? Or anybody being in a state of victim. It could be anything, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like to sort of insist that your student be doing one thing, or what you doesn't
Yeah, it was also weird because so I had that teacher for like a year and a half because for my first year of doing playwriting, she had gone on a sabbatical for my second semester, and she had a TA who actually does do stand up. So he got us doing all of this like comedy writing and stuff like that in the class, or like he was open to that, and
Yeah.
and he didn't push us out of that, whereas she wanted to push us out of that. And also she was getting us to do monodramas, whereas this
What's
instructor,
a monodrama?
so a monodrama is like a kind of like a one woman or one man show. So it's essentially a monologue, but you're telling an entire play. You're telling an entire story. Whereas a monologue is a moment where you have a big piece of information. You know, whether it's like you professing your love to somebody in a scene, or just like expressing that. Whereas a monodrama tells the whole entire play. And so when this TA came in, he was getting us to write full out scripts. So we got used to doing that. So then when she came back, we were having to do all these monodramas again, and we were just like, I want to write conversations and stuff like that. So it was very difficult. I'm grateful that we had the variety of teachers, like, and I did learn a lot from her and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely think that having those two different perspectives in the first year, and then her coming back after, just kind of was a little bit of whiplash on us.
Okay, so then you leave York, and you get into a lot of stuff through the Second City.
Yeah, yeah. Because I had been wanting to take classes with them for years, but York was so far away. Like, I was commuting all the way from downtown, so it was difficult for me to like make time, and I was also working a lot, so it was hard for me to make time to do the Second City classes, and I'd always wanted to do them. So when I graduated, I took up doing that. Yeah.
They were like a big part of my story. I guess like the first piece of it was that I started doing Toastmasters, which is just like giving speeches.
Okay.
And then, so I started that before the pandemic and was still doing it after. And then just to kind of get myself in a more social mood, I was like, I'm going to take an improv class, which I hadn't done improv since I did like high school drama class.
Yeah.
And then it was through, once I was like at Second City, I'm like, oh, there's a sketch comedy writing class. I'll try that. And then I tried this stand-up class. So I wasn't like, I didn't think I was looking for any kind of like career change. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? It was just sort of like Second City is cool. I'm going to like have fun there.
Yeah.
So I was like really surprised to find like a kind of later in life like huge passion. But I feel like it's a great resource for a lot of people, like creative types, or like you meet people who met their spouse there.
Yeah, I also just think it's like a good confidence builder for a lot of people. Like when I took classes there, a lot of people just took them because they wanted to get over their stage fright or build a little bit more confidence or try something new. It was really interesting taking improv classes there, because then you found people from all walks of life. They were just there because their friend from the office was also taking the class, and I was like, oh, this is a thing. Like
yeah, I feel like with improv, it's sort of like if you go to the gym, you're working out your body, and like going to improv is sort of like working out like being loose or being
I guess
it's a few different skill sets.
It's honestly, it's really what's the word I want to use, it's a really good skill to have, like because it kind of forces you to think on the spot, and kind of teaches you kind of how to just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, too, when something is, like, an experience, like, there's a lot of things you could tell someone to do, like, be more confident, like, be this, do that, but people can't learn it by just hearing the advice. Like, they have to sort of do something that pulls those things out of them.
Yeah, you kind of have to experience that before gaining a lot of that confidence, because it's like that saying, easier said than done, right? You know, you kind of have to be forced into it a little bit to have that push of confidence, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have anything that you find like frustrating about the scene right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. Wait, let me think. I guess it would be like the lack of communication with like knowing where mics are, because sometimes I just find out the day of and it's like, oh, okay, then I'll just go here. You know, I do like that there are a lot of, you know, I guess like there's like a you can find your footing in different areas now, which is good. Like, whereas before I found that you would go to mics and you would have like a very big mixture of people. So there would be a lot of weirdos, but there would also be a lot of pros. And then there would be like maybe one person that was like-minded like you kind of thing, where that was just starting out. So it's still nice that, you know, you go to a mic and you can find footing and peers and stuff like that, but I think it's harder finding mics now because you don't have like a list. But that's also just like a learning curve for me, because I'm someone who just likes an entire list of things kind of presented to me.
Doesn't Eric Daniel do a list?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm guessing a lot of people do lists, and I'm probably just, I haven't seen it. I just kind of go online and then just look, and then that's it.
Okay. I think I have a list I can send you. I can't vouch for how up to date it is.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And then there's also changes happening all the time. Because you're saying right now, you know, I don't know how updated it is. And it's like, that can totally be a thing. But I feel like, and in all honesty, kudos to Eric if he has that list. But at the same time, it's a lot of upkeep having to... That's a big role. Yeah. Just updating that list constantly. It was actually Joel who made the original list. And then he was like, I'm archiving this page, and just shut it down.
I remember for a while Jay Rainville used to keep... When I started, he was keeping up a list.
Oh my God. He was like... He had like an entire binder of transcribing all of his jokes. A binder of the lists, and I was like, oh my God, like, you're a very organized person. Like, it was impressive.
Like the dad of the scene.
Yeah, he kind of is. Yeah. He's like the dad that we all kind of want, because, you know, it's usually the mom that's like all organized with, okay, this is the list, this is that.
The passport parent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think along with the, you know, the lack of information, or like the scatteredness of information. I think that's the word I wanted to use, is scatteredness of information, because my brain goes like that. Like if I have like information coming here and then there, which is why I've taken kind of a step back from producing and stuff, because I felt like it took away from my other artistries and stuff like that. Is I think the biggest thing would probably be cliquiness, but I feel like that's always been a problem. And
I feel like it's a human thing to be cliquey. And I also, what I've been finding, like, that I'm older, because I have certain feelings that have come up since I started doing stand-up, but I'm like, I have these in feelings about every group of people. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think most people feel it, like, that, like, there's like a tendency to feel like everyone in the group is more connected than you are.
Yes.
And I have to, like, remind myself, like, it's just how people feel in groups. Because, like, the group isn't about any one person, so no one's getting, like, all their needs met through the group.
I agree. And I think, like, you know, I used to be a part of a friend group, and I'm not part of this friend group anymore. But there were 5 of us at one point, then there were 4 of us, and now I think there's only 3 of them because I left. I say I left like I was like, I'm like, I left my husband. Like, you know what I mean? No, I didn't leave like that. It was like there was a fight and whatever. Anyways, point is, there were 2 people in the group, and one of them would constantly go out of her way to talk about how she was so close to this other girl in the group, and they were everything to each other, best friends, whatever. And that's like it's so sweet to profess that constantly and stuff like that. But when you do things like that, you make other people in the group feel like shit. But with me feeling like that, I also kind of because you're saying, you know, everyone kind of feels that way in groups. I do feel like there's always somebody in the group who overcompensates by saying things like that, because they want to feel on top. So they want to make other people feel left out. I'm not going to lie. There's been several groups where I've experienced that. There's been a bunch of friend groups that I've been a part of. And then there's always like two girls that are quote unquote closer than the other girls in the group, and they're always like, yeah, we're besties and you're like the third wheel, and it's like, what the fuck? Like
I'm like the third sister in my family, so
like you're number 3.
Yeah.
Oh my
there's
God.
Also a brother, but I feel like
is the brother oldest or youngest?
No, it goes sister, brother, sister, sister.
Oh, so you're the 4th.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're the
so
baby.
I just showed up an outsider. And like third wheel, I feel like I won't even leave the friend group over it. I'll just be like, I guess
it is what it is. It is what it is. Do you have a big age gap with them?
No. One of them is a year older than me, and we actually shared a room. So
okay, the girl.
Yeah,
because you said sister, brother, sister, sister.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I have 2 brothers. One's 2 years older than me, and then the other one's 8 years younger than me. So yeah. I made sure not to leave the little one out.
That's so sweet. But I feel like 8 years is when the little one becomes like your baby.
Yeah, I have a picture of him and me. I was holding him as a newborn, like holding him like proper. Aww. And everything. Yeah, I was changing that kid's diapers when I was like 8, 9 years old. Yeah. I used to take him to the park every day, and because like there was like a wading pool, yeah, he would go swimming, and the attendant used to always go on about, she was like, you take him every day, because this girl was only a couple of years older than me, and I used to talk to her all the time when I would take him, and she would always go on about how she was like, I wish my sister took me out when I was young like that. But yeah, I did do a lot for him, because I never wanted him to feel left out, and you know, and he was bullied as a kid, and so was I, really, but he got bullied worse, and he had such a difficult time in that regard that I always wanted to make him not feel left out. Yeah.
How's he doing now?
He's doing okay. He's fine. He like acts like the rich kid basically now that he gets everything handed to him. So I'm like, I hate you. Yeah. He's born 2003. I'm like, that's not even real, bro. How's anyone born after 2000? It's like weird.
Yeah, it is. It's a very strange. I guess every generation must have that.
I think what it is people are tripped out by the year starting with a 2.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it is.
And then, like, when people are like, oh, you're from the late 1900s.
Yeah, it's
like bro, such an insane thing to say.
Yeah. When people find out I was born in the late 1900s, they're like, oh, I thought you were born in 2001. And I'm like, don't insult me like that. That's fucked up.
What year are you born in?
I'm born in 95.
Okay.
So I just turned 30 this year. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, actually, for me to know people born in the 90s. Because that's high school for me.
Were you 80s?
Yeah, in 1980.
On the dot. So you're cusp between Gen X and, like, I guess millennial.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like me, but the opposite, because I'm technically cusp of Gen Z and millennial.
So I think I technically am Gen X, but I identify millennial.
Yeah, if you're on the tail end of it, it's kind of difficult.
Where do you identify?
I'm a little bit of both. People say that I dress Gen Z, but I feel like I'm more millennial. Yeah. But I also used to, like, my best friend's a millennial. She's older than me. And, like, I used to hang out with a lot of older people because of my older brother and the people he would bring around. So because of that, I feel like I adopted a lot of millennial mentality in nature. So, but when it comes to, like, my qualities and, like, just, like, what I stand for, I would say it's more Gen Z.
How do you define Gen Z? Like, what do you think they're the most about? Because I know millennials really well, but I kind of get confused about what Gen Z is.
Well, millennials were the kids that would take a selfie and put a little quote on the selfie, right? Or And then the Gen Zs are the people who do the photo dumps and always take a photo kind of like almost as if they have a selfie stick. That's how I differentiate them. It's really bad. But yeah, that would be the biggest thing. Or like millennials are like the UGG wearers, whereas like Gen Z are like, they'll wear, you know, old shoes from Value Village. And like I feel like millennials do that too, but I feel like millennials are a little bit more like mix and matchy type of thing. I don't know. That's like the big thing. And yeah, aesthetically, that's kind of what I would say is the difference between them. And I think that millennials, I mean, people are not saying this, but I feel like millennials are more homebodies than Gen Zs are. I feel like Gen Zs,
because I would think Gen Z would be more homebody because they came up with more technology.
I guess you can say that.
But they're younger, so...
Yeah, I mean, my thing with... maybe not homebody. I think what it is I think most millennials that I know really... As much as it's like... As much as the birth rate's declining and stuff like that, and as much a lot of millennials aren't having families and stuff, I find that Gen Zs really haven't... like... prioritized dating as much as millennials have. I feel like a lot of millennials still have prioritized dating and being in a relationship and that stability because they've kind of strived for that. Yeah. Whether or not they have kids or 2 dogs or something, for example, you know, it doesn't matter. But I feel like most millennials I know have, not that they haven't put forth their friendships, but I feel like they kind of prioritize the relationship over friendships, whereas a lot of Gen Zers will be like, nah, or like even identify as asexual. I feel like they're less sexual and like less datey romantic than millennials are. That's what I think.
Yes. I want to know more people's opinion. But no, I think you're onto something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I find that Gen Zs, and this is, you know, I've also picked this up even with the new wave of stand-ups coming in, because a lot of the younger people are coming into stand-up now. This is reflecting in the stand-up scene a lot, is like the Gen Zs kind of travel in big groups, whereas millennials will be in smaller groups, and they tend to be a little bit more floaty between from one group to the other.
Interesting.
That's the biggest observation that I would give you.
But, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And is there anything you want to plug? Just your socials, maybe?
Oh, yeah. The Amanda Custodian. You can follow me there. And do I plug a show or can I?
Yes.
I'm doing Roast Battle on August.
End of August.
No, August 10th, I believe. No, August 9th. Yuck Yucks next week. Yeah. Sorry, that was paused. Sweet. Yeah. So 10:30.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me.